Hello everyone! Welcome back to ESL Universe. I'm Kalita and I'm so happy that you've chosen to be here with me today as we talk about English comparatives. Now, what exactly are comparatives? Comparatives are words that are used to compare two or more things, people, or actions. They help us to be able to understand the differences in size, quantity, quality, or degree between the subjects being compared. The structure of comparatives is quite simple, although it may initially seem complex when you look at the grammatical formula. It follows this pattern: subject, verb, comparative adjective, than, object. Whew, that's a lot. If I had to choose the most important word to remember for any comparative sentence, it would be the word than. Than will always be used to compare the two words that we are talking about in this sentence. Note that the word uses the letter A, not E. We are not talking about the word then. We always use the word than in comparative sentences. Let's take a closer look at the practical application of that pattern with some examples. My car is faster than your car. In this sentence, my car is the subject, is the verb, faster is the comparative adjective, and your car is the object. The word than is used to compare the two cars. This book is more interesting than that book. Here, this book is the subject, is the verb, more interesting is the comparative adjective, and that book is the object. She is taller than her sister. In this example, she is the subject, is the verb, taller is the comparative adjective, and her sister is the object. Notice that in each of these sentences, the word than is used to introduce the second element that is being compared. If you are ever unsure about if a sentence is using a comparative, look for that key word, than. Now that we've taken a look at some examples, let's discuss how to form the comparative adjective. In the examples that we just discussed, we saw two ways that we can change an adjective into a comparative adjective: by using the word more in front of the adjective or by adding an ER ending. For most adjectives, we simply add an ER ending to the adjective when we want to form the comparative. For example, strong becomes stronger. Tall becomes taller, long becomes longer, and old becomes older. If the adjective already ends with an E, note that we simply finish it with an R. For example, large becomes larger, and gentle becomes gentler. If the adjective ends in a Y, we have to change the Y to an I before adding the ER. For example, happy becomes happier, and funny becomes funnier. When the adjective has a pattern of consonant, short vowel, consonant, we have to double the last consonant before we can add the ER ending. For example, big becomes bigger, and thin becomes thinner. However, if an adjective is a long adjective, typically meaning that it has 3 or more syllables, we use an additional word before the normal adjective to make the comparison. For example, we may say, more interesting, less expensive, or as pretty as. Sometimes we use this structure for words with 2 syllables as well. And there is some overlap with words where they can use the ER structure and the more structure. However, we would never use the ER structure for a very long adjective. That would sound really wrong to a native English speaker. Of course, there is also a third way to make a comparative, and that is when we have an irregular comparative. For example, good changes to better, bad changes to worse, and far changes to farther. Remember how I mentioned before that the word than is the most important word in these comparative sentences? That's because no matter how you form the comparative adjective, you still will need to use the word than after the adjective. This makes it a lot easier for you to identify English comparative sentences. Now, let's practice with a few more examples. I'm going to put a sentence up on the screen, and I want you to respond with the correct form of the adjective. I will then show you the correct answer for you to check, as well as read it out for you to repeat in order to practice your pronunciation. My house is bigger than yours. This movie is better than that one. She is smarter than her brother. My bag is heavier than yours. This computer is more expensive than that one. My phone is faster than yours. This restaurant is more popular than that one. She is taller than her friend. His car is faster than mine. This book is more interesting than that one. Excellent work. Don't forget to keep practicing comparatives so that you can feel confident using them every day. Always remember that comparatives are used to compare two or more things, people, or actions, and the structure will always be subject plus verb plus comparative adjective plus than plus object. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.